I've watched a lot of Indian films. I love Bollywood. I love Aishwarya Rai. I love both father and son Khan. What I love about the Bollywood films that I've seen is I love that there's so much emotion in them and there's so much emotion in the music. You guys have such an incredibly rich, you have a bigger film culture than Hollywood. It's amazing.
Okay, lovely. Hi, Bella and Lena. I'm Bhavna from India today. Firstly, I have to say that Catherine called Birdie is such a delightful watch. I had such an amazing time watching it. But I want to know from you, Lena, first. Adapting a book is always very difficult and it comes with its own challenges. What were the kind of challenges you had to endure while you were working on this?
I think just wanting to make sure that I was faithful to the story while also making it as cinematic as I could, and just making sure that I was really expressing this character of Birdie who had meant so much to me in my childhood. I think it was just the challenge of wanting to make sure that I was really giving the book everything that it's worth, which is so much. It's such an important story to me. So luckily we had the blessing of the author, Karen Cushman, and, then this amazing Birdie who I can't imagine anyone else.
Bella, for you especially, I cannot not mention Game of Thrones when I even think about you, and the fact that both your characters, those set in medieval period, are so different from each other, But I want to know, are you someone who's steered towards characters which are fierce, but at the same time there are various nuances to it? Is it something that comes naturally to you?
I think so. Just to play sort of fierce people. But as you said, like Lena Dunham and Birdie are completely opposite ends of the same spectrum. But I think it's more just comes from a place of it feels good, and to play it's sort of an extension of myself in a way. It's more like who I want to be, more like both of them in varying. I want to have a Death Star sort of that I can use in my everyday life as good as I am moments, and I want to have the boldness and the audacity of Birdie, which I do. Tired, like once it gets past midnight, I sort of have that, but not in my everyday life, and so that's something that is cool. And like to play these characters is just also the scripts are so immersive, so it's not hard. It's kind of given to you, and you just play with it and work with it, especially when you have a cool team around you.
I completely agree with that. But Lena, also, what I really enjoyed about the film was the fact that the emotions are so universal. Though the world has progressed so much, we still see patriarchy in almost every society. I want to know, when you're working on a script like this, how do you keep your judgment of contemporary times or something that you don't agree with, say what the character is doing, away from the film, because that can sometimes the conflict in mind can sometimes come in the way?
Well, it's a great question. I think you don't necessarily always, you try to be empathic towards your characters, but you also sometimes can recognize that there's something happening that you don't agree with, and try to find a way to talk about and shed light on sort of something that you think is a problem with society. And some of those problems existed in 1290 and exist today. And I think, without being overly political, to be clear on what your beliefs are. But then as Belle and I were talking about earlier, once, the actors are in the scene, they just play it as honestly as they can and sort of leave the politics to the side. And so I think as long as as the writing is truthful and the actors are engaging with it truthfully, then it's also okay to find ways to push in some of your, 21st century judgment, just because I think, films do have the potential to change minds, and we always want to do that as much as we can.
I have to say, I don't have a lot of time, but I have to also acknowledge, Lena, for the fact that your stories have always been about giving power to women in a lot of ways. And I feel that is amazing. I think that change we are seeing in storytelling worldwide, in India as well. There are stories where we are empowering women and women leading the films. I want to know, have you ever gotten a chance, both of you in fact, have you ever gotten a chance to perhaps watch an Indian film or a show or an actress you're fond of?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Indian films. I love Bollywood. I love Aishwarya Rai. I I love both father and son Khan, right? There's two famous Khans, the older one and the younger one.
Shah Rukh Khan, is it? Are you
Yes.
talking to
Khan, and then doesn't he also have a son too? Or am I getting that confused? Or is his
the
father?
son has not the son has not made his debut. I think you're talking about Shah Rukh and Salman Khan.
Yes. Yes, I am. But so I've watched some of that, but I just love what I love about the Bollywood films that I've seen is I love that there's so much emotion in them and there's so much emotion in the music. And I've always loved musicals. And in America, I feel like we have too few musicals. And I love how many musicals there are in sort of popular film. And I've also gotten to see some kind of younger non-musical films that are getting made that are more kind of indie too. And it's just, you guys have such an incredibly rich, I mean, you have a bigger film culture than Hollywood. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All the very best for Caption called Birdie. I hope that it touches people the way it did me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you
to talk to
so
you.
much.